Hey guys, what's up? Ron Parks here and welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about what you should do as a tenant or a homeowner if you're not able to make regular full payments due to COVID hardships. Let's first talk about tenants. The National Multifamily Housing Council found that 90% of apartment households made a full or partial rent payment by August 20th in its survey of 11.4 million units of professionally managed apartments across the country. Most people are able to keep up with all or part of the rent, but 10% cannot. And it's been estimated that there are 43 million renters in the US. So if 10% are late or cannot pay all or part of the rent, we're looking at 4.3 million people. The stats really don't look good for renters. 47% spend more than a third of their income on rent. 1/4 spend more than half of their income. So if you're a landlord, a tenant, or a homeowner, good news was announced a few days ago that will significantly impact your revenue and cash flow. The eviction ban ended a month ago, and now there is a new eviction freeze that has been mandated by the CDC. The reason is medical. To throw everyone out of their homes, which are delinquent on payments, would negatively impact the COVID-19 trends. These people would have nowhere to go. They would maybe live on the streets or cohabitate and cause a further spread of the virus by being way too close to other people for comfort. Now, here are some of the highlights of the CDC directive. The order is effective as of September 4th. To be eligible, you have to complete a declaration stating that you meet the specific eligibility requirements. Now remember, you can still be evicted if you breach other terms of your lease. Now, this order does not include foreclosures on home mortgages. The new eviction freeze covers all rental units until December 31st and applies to all tenants who earn under $99,000 a year as a single person or $198,000 as a married couple. In addition to these income restrictions, all tenants have to certify that they're making payments, even partial payments, according to the lease terms. The new rules state that a tenant should pay whatever they can. Even on a rent of $2,000, the tenant can decide all they can pay is $400 per month. The amount a tenant pays is out of the control of the landlord, and if the tenant is making a reasonable, good faith effort to make some payment, they're good to go. So, use your best efforts to obtain any and all forms of government rental assistance. You have a substantial loss of household income, a layoff, or extraordinary out-of-pocket medical expenses, which this order defines as any unreimbursed expenses likely to exceed 7.5% of your adjusted gross income this year. Now, you have to be making your best efforts to make timely partial payments that are as close to the full amount as circumstances permit, taking into account other non-discretionary expenses you have. And an eviction would likely lead to either homelessness or you having to move to a place that was much more expensive or where you can get sick from being close to others. These rules differ state by state. I live in California, and under the legislation, no tenant can be evicted before February 1st, 2021 as a result of rent owed due to COVID-19 related hardships if the tenant provides a declaration of hardship. For COVID-19 related hardship that accrues between September 1st, 2020 and January 31st, 2021, tenants must also pay at least 25% of the rent due to avoid eviction. Now, landlords may begin to recover this debt on March 1st, 2021, and they can even go to small claims court to temporarily allow the landlords to recover these amounts. Landlords who do not follow the court evictions process will face increased penalties under this act. Now, when this is all over and the moratorium ends, these tenants will owe all of the back rent. And what do you think will happen at that time? Well, it's easy to envision. No new jobs, still not enough money to even pay the current rent, and these poor folks will be out on the streets soon enough, as landlords will go after the deferred amount of rent. You might say a little is better than nothing, but I would hypothesize that most tenants should try and get off as soon as possible and find other cheaper alternatives. And in these cases, they won't have the sizable built-up amount that will be just another debt that they cannot pay. Now, we just talked about renters, so let's now talk about foreclosures if you own a home. Lenders and loan servicers are prohibited from beginning a judicial or non-judicial foreclosure against you, or from finalizing a foreclosure judgment or sale. This protection began on March 18, 2020 and extends through December 31st of this year. If you continue to experience financial hardship due to the coronavirus pandemic, you also have the right to request or obtain an extension for up to another 180 days, for a total of 360 days. Now, you must contact your loan servicer to request this forbearance in writing. We're very fortunate that most homeowners have built up healthy equity in their homes. So if they need to sell for financial reasons, they can go through the standard path, hire a real estate agent, put it on the market, and walk away with some money. The equity situation was nothing like 2009 in the Great Recession, when we had home values underwater, meaning that the debt on the house was greater than the current market value. In those years, we saw foreclosures and short sales wiping out the equity the homeowner had built up. And if you do need forbearance, call your lender and tell them due to COVID, you have a financial hardship. That's all you need to say, and then ask some of the following questions. What are the criteria you use to determine my forbearance? What options are available to help temporarily reduce or suspend my payments? Are there forbearance, loan modifications, or other options applicable to my situation? Will you waive the late fees on my mortgage account? What are the payment options at the end of the period? And will interest be charged on my unpaid mortgage payments during the forbearance? Now, assuming that you enter into a forbearance agreement with your lender, it's very important to monitor and document everything. So keep written documentation on hand. You want to make sure that you have this documentation available in case there are any errors on your monthly mortgage statements. Also, pay attention to your monthly mortgage statement. Continue monitoring your monthly mortgage statements to make sure you don't see any errors. Stop or change auto payments for your mortgage. You want to only pay the amount that you are able to pay. And also really important is to keep an eye on your credit. Credit bureaus will report that your mortgage is in forbearance. If you are otherwise current and have received relief, if you stop making mortgage payments without a forbearance agreement, you will be dinged big time on your credit report. Missing a mortgage payment is one of the worst dings that you can have on your credit, and it will drop your score, sometimes hundreds of points, and take a long time for you to get it back. In most states, falling behind more than 90 days past due on your mortgage means that your lender can initiate the foreclosure process, starting with pre-foreclosure. Now, once your income is restored, contact your servicer and resume your payments. Because the sooner you stop the deferred payments, the better it will be for you, as the amount owed will be lower, and you'll have a good chance of getting it paid off. If you still have financial hardship, you can request a forbearance extension for another 180 days, which will give you 360 days in total. Your property taxes and insurance need to be paid. So set some money aside to pay property taxes and homeowners association dues. There are many ways to navigate the landscape now, but we're still in uncharted territory regarding COVID-related financial issues. So whether you're a tenant or a homeowner, there's some benefits in following some of these pronouncements, and it will really help you in the long term. So I hope you really enjoyed a summary of these new topics. And if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you can smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe. And always, any comments or suggestions will be great if you leave them below. And until next time, thanks.